They gathered on a cool, wet night in New York. A little rain wouldn't extinguish these flames, symbolic of that flame that flickered for 95 years. Earlier South Africans, far from home, given the opportunity to share their grief.
Long live the spirit.
This cabinet minister said the time had come to celebrate his life despite his physical departure.
He has run the race. He has accomplished so much, much more than is expected from any human being. Therefore, we have to let go. It is painful, but we have to let go. But we also want to say we thank God for giving us that great human being, for a man who was selfless, who sacrificed his life, who sacrificed his family, his beautiful wife, children, and went to jail to fight for the freedom and liberation of all his people. We are therefore saying, now is time for us to celebrate that life.
The former deputy president who gave the keynote address was first appointed to the executive as a deputy minister by Madiba in 1996.
When he appointed me to be the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, I was, like most of us, very new in government. I was actually quite worried about the appointment. And I went to him and at some point to say, hey, Tata, what really would you like me to achieve in this portfolio? He said, firstly, I'd like you to learn and to work hard. Everything will fall into place. And you've got a good minister to mentor you, which I did, Alan Ewick. But he also said, do you remember that I've been a prisoner for a long time? I also wasn't trained by anybody to be a president, but I worked hard. Amba now.
She also shared choice words about leadership, paying tribute to Madiba for the example he left, telling this audience that to whom so much had been given, much is to be expected.
Madiba was humble. One of the things that I think he taught all of us who worked under him was the importance of knowing that you are not a public master. You are a public servant and a public representative. And service is much more important than the benefits that you derive from the position that you have. And he lived that. If we have come out not to be the best that we can be, we cannot blame Madiba for not showing us a good example as South Africans.
Further afield in Washington, a close Mandela friend who occupied the White House when Madiba was in the Union buildings. The theme, leadership again.
I was always struck by the extraordinary depth of his self-knowledge, of his awareness about how hard it is to live a life of integrity, of service, but to combine within oneself the contradictions that he lived with, a lawyer and a freedom fighter, a prisoner and a leader, a man of anger and of forgiveness, has so captured the hearts of people not only in his own country, but as we are seeing with the outpouring of response to his death, people around the world.
Formal memorial services will be held in both New York and Washington, D.C. on Wednesday next week. As the news of Nelson Mandela's passing begins to sink in, his physical loss is no less diminished. Many South Africans telling us that they feel a need to be home at this time. Here, behind us, doing the little they can to be part of what is an intrinsic and collective grief. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.